What is going on, everybody? What is going on? What is going on? Happy Friday. Obviously, the Friday before Christmas. Friday before Christmas. Obviously, everyone getting in the holiday mood. Spending time with family. Doing some last minute Christmas shopping. Um, it is that time of year. It is that time of year. And first and foremost, it is Red Helmet Week again. Obviously, this is going to be the first time the Falcons have worn those beautiful, glorious red helmets since that. That certainly will, I think, live in the memory for a long time to come. So, last time we wore the red helmets, needless to say, it was a good time. Falcons are 2-0 when wearing the red helmet so far this season. So looking to go for the sweep with the red helmets here this Sunday against the New York Giants, who I really think it's needless to say are not having a good year. Matter of fact, they're having a pretty awful year and are really just a mess. They don't have a quarterback. They really, outside of Malik Neighbors, their rookie wide receiver, really do not have anyone worth, I think, any while. Thomas, but that's really the only other one I can think of personally. When you look, I really think it just boils down to the Giants. Things are not clicking. I think the team is really out of sync, and I think a lot of Giants fans will tell you that what they are doing is not working. Brian Daboll, so far, it looks like after getting them to the playoffs his first year there, last year and obviously this year, it has not gone well, and it does not feel like that team is necessarily in sync. So many Giants fans not pleased with where their team is going this year. But I'm going to go ahead, and this is going to be one of the first things I say before I get into, anything else. And obviously the big enter an NFL football team. They have NFL players. So it's kind of like how this is supposed to be an easy win. And it kind of feels like that's how we're looking at it. This Giants team is still an NFL football team. Let's be clear about that. You can never underestimate any team just because of their record or, how maybe their talent matches up to other talents across the league. They're still NFL football players. They were drafted in the NFL. And you have to consider that. You can never underestimate anyone's ability on any given Sunday. But with that being said, the Giants come into Atlanta this Sunday to face the Falcons right in the thick of a playoff race. Still alive for the NFC South. Still alive to hopefully, overtake the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, they would need some help in doing so. But the Falcons are still very much alive, and this week is obviously very big for will be making his first start as an NFL quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. Hey Fizz, what's up, man? It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute, hey Fizz. What's going on, BR? I see you in there, hey Fizz. What's going on, man? This is obviously a very big week because it is Michael Penix's first NFL start. And there's, I think, a lot of expectations about what do we want to see out of Michael Penix? What will we see out of Michael Penix? I'll go ahead and I'll first off say I do feel like if you're talking about Obviously, it's never easy to just rein in a rookie quarterback or to, give him, that first start. Again, there's no easy way to do it, but I feel like when you look at other potential scenarios you could have taken um, against the New York Giants, a Giants team that really, it's kind of like the Raiders, have nothing to play for, but honestly, draft positioning. And that's what it is. You don't want to ever suggest that these teams are tanking. I just said the Giants are still an NFL team. This might sound contradicting, but at the same time, that Giants team is not playing well, and they really don't have anything other than obviously draft positioning. That's the most valuable thing that they have to play for. With all of that being said, if you are looking for a week to rein Michael Penix in as the starter and really ease him into things, kind of have that smooth transition, this would ideally be the week because you're at home, you're wearing the red helmets, and you're facing a Giants team that, needless to say, is one of the worst teams in the NFL. Even though, listen, as I'm going to say it, they're still an NFL team. They still have talents, but out of all the teams in the NFL, they might honestly be the worst. They might be worse than the Raiders team we saw on Monday Night Football. So realistically, this is one of those scenarios you would definitely favor letting him build chemistry, because that's one of the big things. Is prior to this week, Michael Penix has really had next to no chemistry with any of these guys. Guys like Drake London, who obviously we've seen clips going around the past couple days. They are really building that chemistry on the practice field. Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney, obviously getting accustomed to the O line. Where are the lefties at? Where are the lefties at, man? Just a throwing lefty. It's kind of ironic because honestly, I would say my right arm is more of my throwing arm, but obviously I do everything. But anyways, man, it's obviously Michael Penix is, and also the O line now. The blind side switches for after pretty much his entire career being a blind side or Matt Ryan for Mariota and Ritter and Kirk Cousins. Now we're going to see, and this might be one of the more concerning things when you look at it, you're going to see Caleb McGarry be the blindside protector with Penix being left-handed. So that is, I definitely would say, one of the more concerning aspects about this. But at the same time, I'm going to say that I really feel like we got to keep in mind that, that's how it's going to be. And that's why I think when we talk about the expectations that we're going to have for Michael Penix on Sunday, we're going to want he does. We're all jumping up and down. We're all celebrating. But the odds are we're going to see him, obviously. I don't think there's a way you look as bad as Kirk Cousins has the past couple weeks. But regular start, this is really honestly going to be his first time getting any meaningful playing time since that national championship, really, if you want to think about it, back in January versus Seattle. It really wasn't worth much, and he only played like one. This is really going to be the first meaningful football he's played in almost a full calendar year. So you definitely have to ease him into it. You cannot put it all on him. Now, I will say, listening to Michael Penix, listening to obviously how he goes about his process, he sounds programmed properly. I will definitely say that. And look, Michael considered the most pro ready in this entire quarterback class. Him being 24 years old, him spending what was it 6 years in college, and someone who obviously went through a ton of adversity with those ACL tears, had the shoulder injury, but he never gave us NFL start on Sunday. So definitely from that aspect, it's going to mean a lot for him. But still, you have to ease him into the situation. And that's why I say I feel like Sunday, you have to run the course of this season, the rest of this year, however long that's going to last. Is it just going into the NFC South division title and potentially be in a playoff game? We have to really ease Michael Penix into it. We have to run the football. Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. This time of year is when your running game is supposed to dominate as it is. But especially in this spot, this is where you want your running game succeeding. And there is a lot of versatility now added to this offense with Michael Penix. Because the fact is, even on a lot of those run plays, there were so many physical limitations on Kirk Cousins to the point where you almost had to run out of the same few formations, which honestly made this offense very predictable. And even though Bijan Robinson was getting the job done, we hadn't seen him really get to the second level of the defense. With Michael Penix now in there at quarterback, you're going to see, I feel like, more opportunity Sunday for Bijan Robinson to get to the second level of the defense, because now you have to respect the fact that Penix can drive the ball downfield. He's got a cannon of an arm, and you have to respect that. You cannot no longer just throw a shadow to the inability to drive the ball downfield, because now it is very much something that can be done in Atlanta again. Now, I will say, I feel like the one big concern this Sunday for Michael Penix is going to be the Giants' pass rush. Now, we talk about, I think, Michael Penix's pocket presence. Michael Penix is not Lamar Jackson. He's not getting out of the pocket. He's not scrambling. He's not that type. Michael Penix is a pocket passer. But the thing with Michael Penix, unlike Kirk Cousins, is Penix, if he has to get out of the pocket, he can. He has to get out of the pocket. He has to make a throw outside of the pocket. He has the ability to do that, whereas Kirk Cousins did not. So, for so many reasons, the physical limitations, all that, it goes and shows you that I think while we weren't expecting it, it wasn't even a question that Michael Penix could do a whole lot more than Kirk Cousins, and he opens this offense up. And Zach Robinson basically said it point blank, said, yeah, we're going to be able to do a whole lot more stuff with Penix than we were. Now, the one thing, and I know I said, we got to ease him in. I still feel like that is the case. You're going to give you opportunities to make those big plays. I really feel like that's going to happen, because that pass rush, you got to respect Kayvon Thibodeau, and of course you got to respect Dexter Lawrence. You got to respect all of those great of a players that they all are, and the tandem that they create together. You would probably look at and say it's honestly astonishing that the Giants only have 2 wins with that pass rush duo. and a guy like Dexter Lawrence on the interior of the defense. But that's the reality. With that being said, when you look at obviously the front of the Giants defense, the back end is not so good. So I do feel like you're going to see opportunities for Michael Penix to build on the chemistry with a guy like Drake London, with a Darnell Mooney, really getting the balls to his wide receivers. Obviously, I think the big question is Michael Penix finally the quarterback that can get Kyle Pitts involved in this offense? Is he finally going to be that quarterback that can connect with Kyle Pitts? Because we've ever since Matt Ryan left, he wasn't able to find a Mariota. He wasn't able to a little something going with Taylor Heineke a little bit. It felt like he did catch a few good balls from Heineke. He was not able to find it consistently with Kirk either. So now I really feel like it's another spot of is this finally where Kyle Pitts? I feel like a lot of us are growing very frustrated with, and I'm going to be completely honest, I would not mind being off this team come this offseason due to the fact that he has not been the player that we expected. He has not lived up. We have seen him be. With Michael Penix, can he finally unlock elements of this offense we've been waiting for? So that I really feel like is one of the key elements. And I feel like the Giants will give you those opportunities. They will. So ultimately, I do feel like you could be in store for a good day from Drake London, because it does feel like out of all the guys, you've definitely been seeing Penix and Drake London make that connection. And obviously, still, I feel like Bijan Robinson is another guy that you got to expect a pretty good day out of, because I still feel like, as I say, he has to the year, because when you have a rookie quarterback, his best friend is Michael Penix finally get Kyle Pitts involved? But we know one thing, that running game, I really feel like I would love to see be Michael Penix's best friend. As far as the defense goes, and we haven't talked about the defense a lot, but the defense obviously played really well Monday night, and I feel like we're going to expect the same thing again from them. The one thing I feel like we need to look out for, as awful as the Giants have been, he has been their playmaker. He is the guy they basically for a lot of life in that offense. So it is definitely going to have to be key to slow Malik Neighbors down in the NFL, whether we like it or not. AJ has, and AJ's been having a solid past couple of weeks, I will say. Earlier in the year, like versus DK Metcalf, AJ played like absolute shit. But really ever since then, AJ's got his shit together. And I feel like you got to give respect where respect is due, especially during that game. They did not even want to mess with AJ. They picked on everyone but AJ. That's going to have to be the thing, is if you can shut Malik Neighbors down, needless to say, the Giants are going to have trouble really doing anything, period, on offense. Tyrone Tracy, their running back, they are trying to find a little something with that running game. I would expect them to try and get that going. But as I said, the Falcons defense has looked better the past couple weeks since coming out of the bye week. They look and doing, I feel like the defense should come out for this team to win. So the big story for this game is obviously going to be how well are they going to be in sync. Consider that while at the same time, yes, he's a rookie. Yes, you got to temper expectations. Make a splash, and I think versus the Giants at this point. A team that, even though they have a very good pass rush, they don't have a good secondary. And as long as I think your offensive line can hold up and not get Michael Penix completely, I feel like that's honestly, when you're looking at a guy like Caleb McGarry, for the rest of this season, the goal has to be he doesn't get Michael Penix killed. He doesn't get him injured. And then this offseason, you may really honestly have to look at that right tackle position because I know you can't. But not letting him get killed and, letting him build that chemistry. That's what I really feel like chemistry. While at the same time taking advantage of the fact, kind of like you did last week versus the Raiders, because you did not play like you deserved to win that game. But you still found a way somehow to pull it out on a Monday night despite all the struggles we saw from the offense. There's no way the offense can look nearly as bad as they did last week. And the fact is, another big fact, teams don't have tape on Michael Penix in the NFL. They don't have tape of him in the Zach Robinson offense fully unleashed. You've been looking at ever since the bye week, especially just a very vanilla, hard to watch offense where it's almost like at many points it looked like they were just pulling teeth to even get out on the field. So Zach Robinson offense, because let's be very clear, there is pressure on Zach Robinson now to actually utilize these guys to their full potential and put Michael Penix in a good situation to succeed early on in his NFL career. So there isn't a false precipitation after only 2 or 3 games like we know a lot. So we need to put Michael Penix in a good situation to succeed early, which I feel like versus the Giants, you're going to get that. You're as much as, yes, you show the Giants respect, you're going to get a situation for Michael Penix where you're going to get those chances to really unlock him and maybe even let him take a few shots down field, get your deep shot guy like Darnell Mooney, maybe get Ray McLeod involved on some of those deep balls that maybe we were expecting him to get with Kirk Cousins that Kirk was not able to deliver. The biggest thing, could this potentially be a Kyle Pitts sleeper game where we're really, and I'm gonna tell y'all, Kyle, you never really know when he's ever going to show up, and that's the frustrating thing about him because he's so inconsistent. You never know when he's going to show up, but when he does, it always feels like it's at the most random times. So, hopefully this can be one of those times, and he can play a role in helping out Michael Penix. But I will say one thing, that I really, and maybe it is a lot of reading too much into stuff. Maybe they didn't mean it this way. But at the same time, I really kind of catch a nerve with, the fact that and maybe this is, just them being all business and stuff, but you really didn't get the feel that, some of these players were feeling Michael Penix too much, or maybe it's just because they are really just learning him. They're still unsure about him, but he's going to grow. But like, for instance, Drake London saying, "Hey, I just catch balls," which yes, you do. That's because ideally, this is our franchise quarterback. This is our first round rookie that we want to see go out and perform and grow chemistry and lead this offense and be this team's franchise quarterback, ideally. A guy like Darnell Mooney, who really does, he said he really hasn't called any passes for Michael Penix at all before this week. So that's why I say it's really, it is an ideal spot to be facing the Giants in, because you can clearly see these guys, they need chemistry. It really, if you've watched the Falcons games, it don't look like Kyle Pitts is clocked in for a second sometimes, because this dude is just out on the field sometimes and really has no motivation. So can get their head straight about playing with Michael Penix and, really getting to learn a style, because you got to give him a chance. Because whether you believe it or not, this team, they still have a chance to get into the playoffs. They absolutely still have a chance. Yes, you might need a little bit of help, but there's still a chance. You got to control what you can control, and that means these next 3 games. So that starts Sunday with the Giants. And you can't come out just thinking like last week. You have to come out, you have to make a statement, and you have to build that chemistry. So we definitely are going to be looking forward to seeing that and how that progresses on Sunday. As far as the 3 keys to victory does go, I feel like it is going to be, number 1 is going to be the offensive line has to protect the quarterback. The one thing you cannot do to a rookie quarterback is let them get rattled. Michael Penix, he may come off as this cool, calm, and collected, some nerves running through him. And that's why I kind of say you ease him in with the running game. But when he is back there passing, you need to put him in situations where he is not running for his life every single play. You can give him a clean pocket. I'm looking at Caleb McGarry. I'm looking at guys like Matthew Bergeron. I'm looking at the entire offensive line. Yeah, I'm even looking at Chris Lindstrom. I'm looking at Jake Matthews, Dahlman, all of them. Give him an opportunity to get rid of the football. Give him a clean pocket. Let him go through his progressions. Obviously, Dexter Lawrence and Burns, Thibodeau, yeah, they are damn good at what they do. But guys like, their asses are getting paid. So there's no excuse. You have to protect Michael Penix on Sunday. So that Malik Neighbors, he can be a killer. The Falcons have, I feel like, done a solid job this season. Did give up over 100 yards to Ladd McConkey. It's kind of like a similar situation with the Chargers, where this, rookie wide receiver is a big focal point of the offense. But it's going to have to be limiting what Malik Neighbors does and the impact that he has on this game. And I really feel like, this one, it's kind of tough to predict, just because the fact that you do look at this Giants game and you say it should just do not do what you did on Monday night and do not play down to your a kind of a broad one. But you cannot play down to your opponent. you know you're better than this team, but you got to go out and show it because they, as I say, they are an NFL football team. And the bottom line is you cannot just throw the side eye to them and say, oh, we can come out at 50% and still get this done. No. Mm-mm. One more thing I do want to talk about before I get out of here. Younghoe Koo, obviously our kicker for the past 5 years. He has not done well this season. He has missed a lot of key kicks. He missed those kicks in New Orleans. He missed a kick on Monday night versus the Raiders. And I really feel like there's a lot of questions about what his future is, but there is one thing I feel like we can look at and say he just ending his season. A kicker, Riley Patterson, has been signed. He was on the practice squad a few weeks ago. So Riley Patterson, he's a solid kicker. I'll tell y'all. I want to say Jacksonville he spent a little bit of time with. So, he should definitely, honestly, look, I feel like Koo at this point, he the kicker for the rest of this season. And next year during training camp, I definitely feel like there needs to be a competition. Cannot no longer just let Younghoe Koo feel like his job is the safest on the team no matter what he goes out and does. You have to put pressure on him now. So definitely want to see what Riley Patterson can do. I like what some of the stuff I've seen from him. Now I definitely, want to see him go out and make the kicks that are necessary. That's what I want to see. I want to see him make the kicks that are necessary. Anyways, man, with that being said, obviously very excited to see Penix on Sunday. Listen, I'm not going to lie. I was not feeling the draft pick at all on draft night. But listen, it turns out that, in most spots where a team season might honestly be cooked, and potentially prove himself and his worth. So now we want to see it. With that being said, obviously, hope everyone all weekend. First round of the college football playoffs, bowl games. It is bowl season, and obviously a football game Monday night. We're going to have football on Christmas. Football, it is football season. You really want to talk about it. This is kind of the height of football season. This is where you reach the climax of football season. It's kind of sad because, once, the playoffs start, you definitely feel like you're kind of going down. And once the Super Bowl's over, we're in the off season. But hey, we're going to enjoy it while it's here. This is the best time of year because it is football through and through. And I'm a football Falcons. I'm ready to see what number 9 can do for this team. Ready to see him prove his worth. With that being said, I will see you all in the next one.